Hey everyone, welcome to another video in the Road to Category A series. This is the third episode of the series, and I am going to be racing the Zwift Classics Watch the Femmes event. This is the third race in the Classic series, and before we get started, I'd like to ask you all to please leave a like, subscribe. I've decided on a 300 subscriber special, and that will be me riding on the level 1 default setup. So that'll be the Zwift Carbon and the default wheels, and I'm going to see how well I do in a Category B race. So please leave a like, subscribe, and let's get started with the video. So you can see here that it's a pretty small race. There are around 13 people in the race. A few of them have already been dropped, and and you can see that I'm just going through the Aqueduct KOM. This is the Casse Pates route, so this is the first eventful part of the course. And I was able to hold on for all the flat parts, and the race was pretty mellow until now. And there's one rider on the front, T. Corrigan from Eat Dirt, and he is just going crazy on this course, and you're going to see that he's an extremely strong rider as he does this breakaway all throughout the climb and ends up winning the race too. As soon as this climb started, I expected riders to immediately kick up the pace, and that's exactly what riders did. This is because there was a rider 18 seconds ahead of the group, so it was a significant gap, and if we didn't try to close the gap here, there's no way that any of us were going to take the win. So the group started to surge to around 6 to 7 watts per kilo, and I had a lot of trouble holding on to the group because I'm not used to going that fast on climbs, and my 5-minute power is not the best compared to these Category A riders since I am still getting used to racing Category A. So here you can see that we are quickly closing the gap between us and the rider ahead, T. Corrigan, and his gap went from 18 seconds down to 16 seconds at this moment in the race. And there are Alex Hunt from Beta, which is a Canyon team. He is on the front pushing the pace at around 6 to 7 watts per kg, and I'm just trying to hold on to the back here doing around 6 watts per kilo, and I'm not quite sure how much longer I'm going to last, but I'm going to try and see if I can hold on to maybe 2/3 of the way through the climb so that I'm not left alone for the entire race. Something that riders were also trying to do was drop Jay Marina because he is a rider on Z-Power. You can see that next to his watts per kilo, he does not have a lightning bolt. Lightning bolt signifies whether you are on a smart trainer or power meter as your power source, but he is not. So riders are also trying to drop him just because Z-Power is not the most accurate, and it can sometimes ruin races, especially when going downhills. So we got a gap of around 5 seconds at this point, and we're going to bring it up to around 20 seconds before I get dropped. I was already struggling a ton to keep up with these riders. You can see Alex Hunt is using his drafting boost to try to get a bit of a breather, and you can see based off my power graph that I am in zone 6 and zone 5, so I was very close to setting a 5-minute personal best, but I was a few watts off, which is okay. But you can see that right here is when I get dropped. I still think, oh, maybe there's a chance that they'll slow down going around this little bend, but they do not slow down, and I end up getting dropped here. I still put up a fight, and I'm able to catch back onto Alex Hunt's wheel, but I am not able to hold the wheel when he surges and rejoins the group. So you can see that I am surging right now, doing around 6 watts per kilo. So you're going to see me just grab onto his wheel briefly, and then immediately get dropped right after that when we turn the bend. This is pretty unfortunate because there are only 2 bends left in the KOM, and I think I probably could have held on to the finish if I improved my 5-minute power a bit, and that would probably lead me to holding onto the lead group until the finish, which would be pretty awesome. At this point, I am dropped, and I know that there's no catching back up. I'm just watching the time gaps and seeing that T. Corrigan is just getting caught, and I'm kind of curious to see if he catches back onto the group. Amazingly, he does catch back onto the group, and he ends up winning the race in the finishing sprint. My goal from this point on of the race was to just hold off Jay Marina, the rider who's 21 seconds behind me. So I try to keep the pace high on the KOM, but I ease off quite a bit on the downhill because there's really no point in pushing on the descent because I am such a light rider. So if I were to do anything different in this race, and what I learned from this race was that Category A riders are extremely strong, and if you choose a smaller race, there's a higher chance of you holding on to the group for longer. I definitely would not have hung with these riders for this long if I had chosen a Category A race with, say, 20 to 30 riders, because the pace on the flats would have just been so much higher because of how much draft there is, and that would have led me to holding around 4 watts per kilo the entire time during flats, which would pretty much tire me out before the finishing sprint, or the KOM in this case. I'm going fast forward to the final half mile of the course, and this is something that was pretty smart of me to do, and not quite intentional at first, but Jay Marina, just a few seconds before this clip started, was using his burrito power-up. What I did was actually stayed out of range of the burrito, so I was still getting some draft effect, and I was able to hold on to his wheel before this finishing sprint, where I turned on my drafting boost, and I intended to beat him in the finishing sprint, not realizing that he still has quite a bit of energy to sprint after holding 4.5 watts per kilo the entire race. So right here you're going to see me just hold on to his wheel until the finishing sprint, and I can't quite get ahead of him. Overall, I was super happy with the result. I definitely improved from the previous race I did, and just holding on and catching on to the attacks on the flat portions of the course, that really helped me, and the climb fit my rider type, so I really had a pretty good advantage over what I would have had on a flat course for the climb. Next week, I'm going to be racing the Yorkshire Grand Prix, so you can see that video that will premiere on at midnight on Mondays. I've switched it to Mondays because it's just more convenient, and that will be an interesting course for me to race because there are tons of super steep, punchy climbs and a lot of fast descents where I could easily get dropped on the descents. I'm definitely kind of worried about even racing B on that course because of how fast riders descend, but I'm going to try my best, and I will report back for the episode 4 of this series. Stay tuned for more content coming soon, and smash that like and subscribe button, and see you all next time. Thanks for watching.